Hey there, sister friend. We're at episode 220 today. Oh my gosh, I cannot even believe I'm saying that out loud. Episode 220. I can't wait to dive into this topic with you, girl. In today's show, I'm breaking down some science behind decision making for you. And I can't wait to share with you the number one phrase that you have got to stop saying if you want to make better decisions and quicker decisions in recovery, not only to escape this disordered madness that you're living in, but also in your life. You should grab a notebook and your favorite pen. We're going to dive in. Let's do this. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsey, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you. Because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess, trapped in a destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it. So you can start living your best life as your best self. Hey there, girl. Welcome to the Her Best Self pod. Welcome back. And I cannot wait to talk with you about something that might completely change how you're approaching your life, your entire life right now. I know, this is a big promise for today's episode, but I just got to thinking on my walk today about how we make decisions and what decisions that we aren't making, and how that is quite honestly such a travesty in so many of our lives. But today's episode, I want to bring this really in the forefront of how you were doing this in your own life as it comes to recovery, but so many different ways, so many different things. And so I want to encourage you to listen to the show, take some notes, replay this on repeat. First, I want to speak directly to you. If you're listening to this and you recognize yourself in this pattern, maybe you've started recovery multiple times and you've said, this time it's going to be different. And you've done that more times than you can think of. You've bought the books, you've listened to the podcast, maybe you've tried therapy before, you have done the things, but you keep finding yourself right back at square one. And you are super frustrated and feeling like you're broken, or you're simply lacking willpower to get better. I mean, if only you could get better, right? Or maybe you're on the other side of this. As I was walking, I was thinking about two different places that you may find yourself. The second place is you've been thinking about recovery for months, maybe even years, and you keep waiting for the right time or the perfect plan, or until you feel ready enough. And you've been stuck in this research phase, what I call the preparation phase, the someday phase. Both of these places are not wrong. If this is you, I want you to know that you're not broken, you're not weak, but you are caught in what I call decision defaulting. And once you can understand what it is and how to break free from it, everything can change for you. So right now I'm offering complimentary consult calls. If you are ready to stop the cycle of starting and stopping, or you're really ready to finally take that first real step into your journey of recovery, and you're simply tired of living in the maybe someday space and you want to explore what personalized support could look like for you in your specific situation, I would love to talk with you personally. So during our call and time together, we are going to discuss where you are now, where you want to be, and whether working together makes sense for your journey. And there is no pressure at all, just clarity and compassion for you, friend. But I've been getting asked recently, what do you do, Lindsey? It's a little daunting to schedule a call and try to find out how we can partner together on this. And I'm not really sure what to expect. So I wanted to make sure in today's episode that I just shared a little bit about the process with you. It is a girls chatting over coffee. And if you're looking to find more support for yourself so that you can become your best future healthiest self and escape this, then go on out to the website herbestself.co and you can find the link out there to apply to work together. Now let's dive into why you keep getting stuck and how to break free from what I'm calling decision defaulting once and for all. I was actually thinking about this concept today. Like, what is it when we avoid making definitive choices because not deciding feels safer than deciding, quote, wrong? This is what I'm calling decision defaulting. And it's the difference between fully committing on making a decision and just staying in the non-decision land because that feels super safe. And this distinction is not just semantics. It's the difference between staying stuck and actually creating real and lasting change. But we have to get you in action. So when you say, and this is the phrase that I wanted to share with you today, it is the number one phrase that we are going to stop saying, okay? I'm going to do my part. I'm not going to say it in areas of my life as well. But when you say, I'm trying, Lindsey, I'm going to try. I'm trying. You're leaving yourself an escape route. I'm going to try to eat more, or I'm trying to get better. Sis, you're keeping one foot in the door and one foot out. And I know that's hard to hear today, but I am your biggest ally, but I will also be your truth on repeat. You're protecting yourself from the vulnerability of a full commitment. And if it doesn't work out, well, you weren't really all in anyways. Like there's nothing that you failed at because you were just trying. So it doesn't necessarily count as a failure to your brain. But here is the raw truth. Trying is just a socially acceptable way of avoiding responsibility for your choices. Oh my gosh, I said it. I had to say it, and I still love you. But this is the truth. Stop saying you're trying, okay? This is a way of defaulting your decision. Let me share a story about a prior client, Brittany. So Brittany came to me after 3 years of trying to recover. She'd been in therapy twice or 3 times. I can't honestly remember, but she started and stopped. She started and stopped. And she was in this place of buying every book and being exhausted from trying. And when I asked her what she wanted from coaching and working together, because that is important to me, like I want to know how I can best serve you, she said, I want to try to finally get better. I stopped her right there. Brittany, I said, you've been trying for 3 years. How's that working for you? And the silence on that call was deafening. I honestly didn't know if she was going to hang up the call and completely exit the Zoom or if it was going to prompt something deeper within her. She realized that all her trying had actually kept her trying. And here's what happened. Every time Brittany said, I'm trying to eat breakfast, her subconscious heard, I'm not really committed to eating breakfast today. And every time she said, I'm trying to stop restricting my food, her brain interpreted that as I'm keeping my options open to restrict if things get uncomfortable in my life today. The research, girl, backs this up, okay? So don't just take my word for it. Dr. Carol Dweck studies all of this. And her studies around language and behavior show that the words we use create neural pathways that either support or sabotage our goals. And when we use tentative language, like trying, we are literally programming our brains for partial commitment. But decision defaulting, it isn't just about the language. And that is where I come in. And I want to talk a little bit about what I meant when I was thinking about this concept on my walk. It's actually about fear, okay? So fear of commitment, fear of failure, fear of success, whatever that fear, the fear of gaining weight, the fear of the unknown. It's actually your brain's way of keeping you safe in familiar territory and familiar misery rather than risking unfamiliar healing. Decision defaulting, it shows up everywhere in your recovery. I'm trying to eat more instead of I'm deciding to have an additional snack today. Or I'm trying to rest more instead of I'm deciding to take a rest day tomorrow. I'm trying to stop body checking instead of I'm deciding to remove the mirror from my bedroom right now. I'm thinking about getting some help and support. I'm trying to position myself to get help and support instead of I'm deciding to invest in professional support because I know that's what it's going to take. The difference here, girl, is so profound. I don't want you to miss it. One keeps you in limbo on the same track, doing the same thing, and the other puts you in the driver's seat of your own life. If you are tired of trying, guess what? Good news. Today is the day. You don't have to try anymore. We're going to stop saying we're trying. We're no longer trying. we're deciding. Think about this in like another area of your life. If you were asked before, let's say you're married, right? If you were asked on the day of your wedding, are you going to marry your spouse? Would you be like, I'm trying to figure that out. I think that it might be a good idea because of all these reasons. Or would you say, I've decided to make the commitment. I'm walking down the aisle. One is definitive. One is creates that action. The other, it just kind of keeps you in that headspace of like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Oh my gosh, should I marry somebody else? This is a permanent decision. Like when you allow yourself to try, you give yourself an out. I'm going to try to do this marriage. And if it doesn't work, I can get divorced. But when you allow yourself to decide, you give yourself power. So let's get into the science of why your brain loves decision defaulting and why breaking free from it is so flipping crucial. From a neurological standpoint, when you're making definitive decisions, that requires activation of the prefrontal cortex. Okay, this is a part of your brain, and I'm not going to pretend to be the science nerd over here, but this is a part of your brain that is responsible for executive functioning and long-term planning. But sis, when you're undernourished or you are in chronic stress from disordered eating patterns or you have an eating disorder, this part of your brain is already hijacked and it is already compromised and it is not working at the level it should be. So decision defaulting feels easier because it requires less energy. But there's also a trauma response component. And many people with eating disorders, they have histories of having choices criticized, controlled, or dismissed. And so decision defaulting, it becomes a protective mechanism. If you never fully commit to a choice, guess what? No one can tell you that your choice was wrong. No one can reject you. No one can get mad at you for failing at whatever recovery means, right? Dr. Christian Neff does research on self-compassion, and this shows that people who struggle with decision-making often have internalized these critical voices that make them afraid of imperfection. And girl, the eating disorder, it amplifies this in you by convincing you that every decision must be perfect. So it's safer to just not make a decision at all. And here's where it gets super fascinating. Decision defaulting actually gives you an illusion of control. You think that you're keeping your options open. You think that you're staying flexible. You think that you're being logical, protecting yourself from mistakes. But what you're actually doing is giving your power away to circumstances or to other people or to that eating disorder voice. And real control comes from when you're making conscious choices and you are taking responsibility for the outcomes. Let me tell you about my other client, Maria. So Maria had been trying to find the right therapist for years, and she'd research professionals, she would read their bios, she'd go look at their credentials, but she never actually booked an appointment. In fact, when we dug into it, she realized that she was absolutely terrified that if she chose the wrong person and didn't get any better, then it would confirm that she was beyond help. And so by not choosing, she was essentially trying to protect herself from a future potential disappointment. But here's the thing, when she came to me in our client consult, she shared all of this, but my comment to her was great. And you're also guaranteeing that you're going to stay stuck. And so not choosing is a choice. And the breakthrough came when we reframed her choice. So instead of, I need to find the perfect therapist or the perfect coach or the perfect support person, it became, I'm deciding to take action toward getting support. And I'll adjust course as I learn what works for me. Within a week, we started working together, and within a month, she found progress. And none of this would have happened if she was still sitting in decision default mode. Here's what neuroscience tells us about decision making. Every time you make a definitive choice and you follow through with that choice, you strengthen the pathways that are associated with self-efficacy and personal agency. So every single time that you default on a decision, you're basically reinforcing the truth in your mind with helplessness and external control and giving away your power. And your brain is learning whether you're somebody who takes action or if you're somebody who stays stuck or avoids making a decision. And this is actually the environment that eating disorders thrive in. So I want us to talk about where the real power lives. And this is the shift from trying to deciding. When you say I'm deciding, you're activating what psychologists call implementation intention. And this is a mental process that creates this direct link between a situation and a behavioral response. So instead of leaving your actions up to, well, when, it's the right season, or if it's not summer, or willpower or motivation, you're pre-committing to specific choices in your life. Research conducted by Dr. Peter Gawatzer shows that people who use these implementation intentions are 2 to 3 times more likely to follow through on goals or decisions than those who rely on just general intentions or general trying. That is why I always bring up to clients, and of course to you listening to the podcast, how it's important that we lead with this pre-decision. Like, I'm going to decide to sit on this, but I'm only going to decide to sit on this and make a decision, and then in 24 hours, I'm going to decide. So let's stop defaulting. So I want you to stop defaulting and just assuming that by not making a decision, you'll be fine. By not making a decision, you're deciding to stay where you are. So let's break down some specific shifts. Instead of, I'm trying to eat regular meals, decide. I'm deciding to eat breakfast tomorrow, lunch at noon, and dinner in the evening, regardless of how I feel about it. Okay, that's the difference. Instead of saying, I'm trying to not exercise as much, decide. I'm deciding to take 2 complete rest days this week and to limit my exercise by 30 minutes. Amazing. Okay, you can get behind that, girl. Instead of saying, I'm trying to stop weighing myself, decide. I'm deciding to remove the scale from my house and I'm not going to go purchase another one. Instead of saying, I'm thinking about getting help, I'm trying to figure out somebody that can help support me, decide. I'm deciding to talk to 3 people this week that can help support my recovery. And notice how different these 2, trying versus deciding, feel for you, because the deciding statements, they're going to create clarity, they're going to create accountability, and actually that's going to create empowerment for you to move forward. They close the exit door that trying leaves wide open. But here's what I want you to understand. Deciding doesn't mean that you have to be 100% confident or comfortable with your choice. It simply means that you're willing to commit to an action, even if you're uncertain. So Brittany, the client that I mentioned earlier, eventually learned this very well when she shifted from I'm trying to recover to I'm deciding to use my resources and trust that I am on the path that I need to be on. Everything changed for her. And it wasn't because the actions got easier. It wasn't because all of a sudden it was just this miracle that happened. No, girl, it was because she stopped negotiating with herself about whether or not to do certain actions. Within 6 months of making the shift, she had gained weight that she was terrified of gaining. She'd rebuilt her relationship with herself, and she actually started pursuing relationships again and thoughts around changing her career that she had put on hold. None of that would have been possible if she was stuck in trying mode. I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do that. And here's the truth of why this whole episode today might make you super uncomfortable. Your eating disorder wants you to keep trying. Hear me. It wants you to stay in this wishy-washy space where you're sort of committed, but not really. Because as long as you're trying, you're not a real threat to its control over your life. But sister friend, when you start deciding, when you make firm commitments and following through regardless of feelings, that's when your eating disorder starts to panic. And that's when it actually becomes inevitable that you are going to find recovery freedom. So here's what I want you to do this week. I'm giving you a choice, and I want you to notice what option feels scarier, because that's probably the one that you most need to lean in on. Okay, so here's option 1, the immediate action decision. I want you to choose one thing you've been trying to do and make a definitive decision about it today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, today. Okay, you can write it down as you're taking notes to this, come back to this episode, listen to it again. I am deciding to blank. I am deciding to get support. I am deciding to reach out to a friend. I am deciding to eat breakfast tomorrow. I am deciding to whatever it may be. And then take one concrete action within 24 hours to follow through on that decision. Okay? I would love for you to share this in our private Facebook community. You can find us at herbestselfsociety.com. Here's the other option. This is the support decision. If you've been thinking about getting help, or you've been trying to find the right support, or you're considering working with a coach or a therapist, make a decision about that this week. Either you're going to decide to take action and you're going to schedule some time with somebody. It doesn't have to be me. Obviously, I would love to meet you. I would love to see if we're a great fit. Or you're not. You're going to decide you're not. You're going to stop torturing yourself with this maybe someday energy that is keeping you right here. Both options require you to stop defaulting and start deciding. And both are going to give you information about your relationship with commitment and follow through. Because sis, you are a person that keeps your promises to yourself, right? If you're keeping promises to everyone else and not yourself, it's time to change that. And here's what I want you to notice. When you make a real decision, your brain will immediately start generating reasons why you should change your mind, okay? This is totally normal. When I invested in one of my most recent business coaches, it was $15,000. And I'm just going to be super transparent with you. As soon as I told her, yes, I want to work with you, my brain started immediately going, no, Lindsey, like what in the world? This is crazy. Go buy another car or something, like, or keep that money for other things in your business. Like, this is totally normal. This is your brain's way of testing whether or not you're super serious about this choice. But don't negotiate it. Don't revisit it. Don't second guess it. Just follow through on what you decided and notice how great that feels, because the power isn't in making perfect decisions, girl. You're not going to make the perfect choice. The power is in making decisions and sticking with them long enough to see what happens when you do. So you've spent enough time in the land of trying. You've spent enough time in the land of maybe and someday and what if. And you've done enough research. You probably could have a PhD in this by now. You have planned enough, you've prepared enough, and the perfect moment, it isn't coming for you. The feeling of being ready, it might not arrive at your doorstep, but your life is happening right now, and you get to decide what you want to do with it next. So if you're ready to stop decision defaulting and start creating real change in your recovery, I want to invite you to come and chat with me. We're going to get clear about where you are, where you want to be, and how I can serve you. But this isn't about me convincing you to work with me. So if you're listening right now and you're like, okay, I get it. This is about you getting clarity on your next right step. This is about you making a decision about your recovery that comes from empowerment rather than fear. I don't even care if you never contact me at all, okay? Of course you can, and I would love to meet you. But your future self is waiting for you to stop trying, girl. It's waiting for you to start deciding. She's waiting for you to choose her over your eating disorder. She's waiting for you to choose your dreams over your fears, your healing over your habits. The decision's yours. And that's exactly where your power lives. So until next time, I want you to remember that you're not broken, you're not weak, you are just ready to stop defaulting and start deciding. So what is your option going to be this week? Are you going to make an immediate action decision and choose one thing you've been trying to do? Or are you going to be thinking about help and trying to find help and just deciding that, like, you don't have to be sick enough, right? Like, what is that anyways? You are. If you know you have a disordered relationship with food, or you feel that you do, you qualify. There's not like a prereq. So you can either decide you're going to take action and get support, or you can decide that you're going to stop torturing yourself with that maybe someday energy that's keeping you stuck. I hope that this message has served you today, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Love you, friend. Bye for now. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show. And I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.